No, no, I don't want to. It's my
We are
cousin.
live. We are live.
Oh, you're live now. You're
Yeah.
on.
Hi, cousin. Go ahead.
I'm using her office.
All right. So Adam Hill is here. It's John Von Tobel. Smarter Than You podcast on Mondays. The first time the duo has been connected, I don't know, like 2 weeks or something like that.
It's been a while, and neither one of us, or you're in Vegas. I am not.
Yeah. So where are you at? Because the background is throwing me off because you have like work hard and make it happen, motivational slogans behind you that are very not you.
They're saying my background is respectable for the first time ever. That's what the comments are. This is my cousin's office that I'm in Colorado. He's here for game one, so got to visit some family, which is very nice. And yeah, she works from home, so she's a very professional setup, unlike me.
I was trying to focus. It's hard to go straight to glasses like that.
It
There's
is.
an ampersand, so it's work hard and make it happen. I get it. Okay.
Oh, there's noticing the ampersand for work hard and make it happen, not just work hard. It's good. I was debating getting one of my little cousins out of bed, but I don't want him to be in trouble at school and being tired tomorrow. So
What the why, dude? This is how I feel old. I have no conception of like time and like school years. So they're still in school.
Daycare, sure.
Oh, daycare. Okay, all right.
Sure.
How old's that kid? Everywhere you go, there's kids.
That's true. Well, it's the same ones though. So like they used to live in the Bay Area.
Oh, it's the same kid. Okay.
Yeah. You saw the Instagram story?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. For those who didn't see it, he has a lot of energy for sure. Logan. And then his brother Landon, awesome too. Yeah, you're right. Just
Yes.
best behavior today. That's what the commenters are saying. No cursing so far.
Fantastic shirt.
Yeah. Told a Ferris Bueller reference.
Oh yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah, no, you're too young.
Respectable background from Brady.
Yeah.
So what was the building like? Because you were there, right? Sunday.
Yeah, it was 10,000. So they're barely over or barely over half capacity right now. But obviously they had a lot to cheer about here in Denver. It was a good night for the Avalanche, not a good night for the Golden Knights for sure. I know some of our listeners were actually at the game last night because they were hitting me up. So sorry that you made a trip for what was not the greatest night for the Golden Knights. But yeah, I think it's one game, and so while I think Colorado is a lot better, I don't think you can make a whole lot of judgment on the series based on what happened in one game. But it was a pretty dominant game.
No, I'm not out of town. I'm home now. My wife is out of town. That's another. That's why I'm in the living room right now. There's nobody to tell me to be quiet. I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? Now I get to live and be free. Sorry, my wife.
What about Diego? Is he gone too?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Are you
living the bachelor life?
Are you living it up?
Yeah. If living it up means I just don't have to like wash my dishes immediately when I'm done cooking. You know what I mean? I'm totally living up the dream. It's been absolutely fantastic.
John,
also very
how? No boy, everybody wants tickets. I don't know. Are fans really going to be fired up? I mean, do people think they're going to bounce back enough that it's going to be a fun series?
I think so.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, look, I think Vegas is obviously not a bad team. They're at this point right now. That was a really bad spot for him. Not only playing Game 7, but then when was the last time Leonard played a game?
It was like 3 weeks.
Right. So you're playing the goalie who hadn't played in 3 weeks. And by the way, I would say too that I don't think it was all on Leonard. I did not think that I did not think the 5 guys in front of him played very well at all. But that's something else. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun series. They're a good team.
Yeah,
They'll probably lose the first 2 games, but
some of the Leonard comments actually cracked me up. I mean, I know that I've been very much a Leonard guy, and so I understand that that's the perspective it's coming from. But if you watched that game and thought, "Wow, this game, if Marc-Andre Fleury was playing, this team would have won," you just don't know what you're watching. Like you don't understand what you're paying attention. First of all, Marc-Andre Fleury had not been good in games 5, 6, and 7. First of all,
right.
And then well, 70 was all right. So for 5 and 6, it wasn't great.
Steve Cofield writes the crawl, so
yeah.
I just
Like,
found
what's
it
his
in the
name?
background and put it on. You want a different one? Cofield and Company talking NFL draft and Raiders new DB Casey Hayworth, Miles Simmons. So there you go.
It's been a while. Let's see.
What were you saying about the Leonard comments?
No, it was just making me laugh. Like people were like 7 goals. Like, I mean, yeah, that's what the game was. And by the way, that it could have been a lot worse. Like, he actually played really well in the third period, which is a crazy thing to say, but he did. And there was two goals that I thought were definitely on him. But also it was a snowball effect, right? I mean, it just got so ugly so fast. And yeah, I agree to a certain extent with Gil the Thrill on the losing 1-0 in OT is the same as losing 7-1 to a certain extent, but it was, and there's reasons. Again, I mean, Colorado had like the perfect amount of time off. They had like a week off, which you're not going to get rusty, but you're also like chomping at the bit to get back out on the ice. The Golden Knights had just won a Game 7, an emotional series, had to travel. Like, it was a really bad spot for them, but they didn't look like they were on the same playing field. Like, those did not look like two teams were similar.
Dude, they got circles skated around them. Like that was crazy. That the gap that it looked like there was between these two teams. Now, I obviously think it's a lot closer, and it's so. I was talking to Mike Palm about this when it came to the Leonard Fleury thing, and I thought he brought up this point, which you kind of alluded to it a little bit. If you start Leonard, if you start Fleury, what do? You lose 4-1 instead of 7-1, right?
Yeah.
like you're still going to get outskated the way that they did. So they'll get Fleury back in net for game 2, right? Everybody's a little bit more rested, ready to go, staying and living the life of luxury in Colorado like you. So are you going on? Oh, no, I'm blind. I thought you went non-glasses for a second. I had to like lean.
No, I got glasses. I just very well lit here. So.
I got so excited. You know what I mean? I was like, we're both going no glasses.
Yeah.
I'm blind.
I am very much in suburbia, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
scared?
If you watch a movie about like what the suburbs are, like it is this. It's weird. It's really weird to me.
You talking shit, and then they're in that room with you?
No, they're gone. But I don't care. I'm saying like it's what most people would look at as a perfect life. Oh yeah. But it would not be for me.
Who's coming with me on VG Key Series Press now that Fleury will play the rest of the games? Says Aaron.
So that's what.
Will he?
That's actually what I was going to get at. So with the comment earlier about losing 1-0 from Gil, losing 1-0, same as losing 7-1. It's just one game. Yeah, but you rarely see a series price adjusted as much as this one.
Dude,
a home team wins game 1, which is what they're supposed to do. You would expect a slight adjustment in the series. You saw a massive number change.
Well, and you know what's crazy? So I'll pull up the most latest series price so we can take a look at it. What I thought was really interesting was I had brought this up. So they closed $1.65 for game 1, Colorado Avalanche, somewhere in that range, right? Against the backup goaltender coming off of a game 7. Now for game 2 against theoretically and statistically the better goaltender and more rest, that now they're minus 205. You know what I mean? Like those two should have been flipped. It should have been 205 for game 1 and like $1.65, $1.70 for game 2. No,
you would think so.
There you go. Series price, Avalanche minus 500.
Yeah, but that was not a normal.
Courtesy DraftKings, by the way, DraftKings Sportsbook. So yeah, VSiN.com/BetSplits. You can check out all the bet splits courtesy DraftKings Sportsbook. So
I still can't believe Toronto choked away that series. By the way,
that's crazy, man. Especially how good they looked for a while. And for those who didn't follow it, that's pretty cool too, because from the betting perspective, I don't know how much you watch on a game-to-game basis with the price. So like games like 1 and 2, Adam, we're talking about Toronto opening like $1.30, right? They kicked their ass for a couple of games, and they get to as high like the last 3 games. They're like laying over $2 in each one of those games. Oh, it's that series is crazy. How dominant they looked, the way the market adjusted, and the way that series collapsed, dude. That was nuts.
I'm pretty sure my preseason pick in the paper for the Stanley Cup Finals is Colorado over Toronto. So I was really kind of hoping that Toronto would get there.
So you can look correct.
Yeah, I like to look correct.
Hey, man.
Especially, you know what? I kind of care more about my hockey predictions than other sports.
So you can prove, like, I might be new here, but I know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's. I mean, it is more like obviously it's the sport I know the least about, or I did when I started, covering it. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, but um, yeah, it's just more. It's more that I can pick up something, I can learn something, I can know something.
I feel like when it comes to interlopers of sports, when it comes to, like, media and whatnot, I think it's not so much the new face that bothers people. Yeah, I could be wrong here. It could just be the new face. But I feel like, at least when it irritates me, is when you see people foray into new topics that they didn't really know before or weren't known for their knowledge before, but they also aren't willing to study and
Right.
actually and get into the topic itself. They just show up and, like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Shut the fuck up and listen to me. And, like, you don't handle it that way.
Yeah.
You're
I
a
mean,
pro. You're a pro's pro.
well, I don't. I think there's part of it, like we talk about Stephen A. Smith with MMA,
Mm.
and like basically trying to walk into the world and pretend like he knows more than everyone.
Stephen A. is awesome.
Like I would never do that, and I know Cofield defends it, saying he's the face of the company, and he's paid to have those opinions and all that stuff. That's fine, but I think there is a level where you can just say, listen, I'm learning. I'm coming in here. I'm knowing it, and I know. When I was first on VGK Beat, I thought it was a good mix of, Dave Shane, who knows inside and out, like anything you could ever want to know about hockey. Um, and Ben Gotu's on the beat now, kind of in that same vein. And then me kind of being somebody who, like, yeah, I know sports very well and I can understand, dynamics of different things, but I can just kind of tell the stories of the locker room and not have to know everything about sports. But then being around them and, literally, I mean, the last couple of years have been different, but those first couple of years talking to them every day and like learning what they're thinking and what they're going about. And I think I was able to be on the same level as kind of like a lot of Vegas hockey fans who are also learning the sport a little bit. So I thought, that was a mix. But yeah, I was never embarrassed to say, like, yeah, I don't really know that much about hockey right now. So that was kind of part of that. But yeah, I don't like guys coming in and, oh man, God, Brady, if I,
Or this one.
yeah, I was around some very interesting people this weekend that had a lot to say about this topic, and I wish I could get into a lot more. But it will be interesting if Ariel is not at ESPN.
Interesting. Would it have anything to do with the partnership with ES or with UFC, Dana White, and maybe some preferred people at the network?
No, I think Ariel's decision, actually.
Ooh, okay, that's juicy. I like that. I'm in.
I mean, there was a New York Post story. This is not. Let me here. I want to make.
Oh, I
sure
didn't see this.
I want to
By
make
the way,
sure
really quickly, as you look this up, I will say that along the sentiment of new experts, I guess, in a certain field, that's why I've never really like chided anybody. I know there's been a lot of, hell no, this person's a gambling expert now. Like, if you study, I guess, enough, all the power to you. Just don't do the whole, fake tout thing, I guess. But
yeah.
other than that, if you want to do it, do it. Who's to say that person A is an expert? That's why I laugh every time you were on the other day and I was reading the promo. It's like NBA expert Jonathan Von Tobel. I was like, I guess.
That's great. So yeah, just to answer this, what I'm trying to do here, just to go behind the scenes, is to not say anything that's not public, because I did learn a lot more about this topic than is in the story. But the story basically says Ariel's contract is running out very soon, and he has not decided to go back or not. So it'll be very interesting if ESPN decided to move on from him.
Industry defining contract stare down?
Yeah.
What is industry defining about this?
Well, John, I mean, I think the dynamics at play are interesting, right? That It's somebody who was kind of synonymous with the MMA field on his own.
I thought he did more NBA stuff.
He's done like 2 games. But before ESPN was involved, there you go. I guess you could just call it up. Before ESPN was involved, Ariel was, he had made himself into the preeminent person in the business, right? I mean, he was running his own stuff. He then started to work for different companies like AOL and MMA Fighting, all that. But he was doing his own site for a while, and there was a time where anybody who was anyone who wanted to have any MMA story out there would go to Ariel, would call into a show, would do the MMA hour that he did, would go to him for their interviews, would break their stories through him, would do everything through him. And he was everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then ESPN got the deal, and Ariel came over to ESPN. And so he was still kind of part of that. But now anybody who's anybody is going to go through ESPN, not necessarily Ariel. Right. So even though Ariel is there, it's now the brand that's bigger than him, where he was bigger than kind of the brand before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he believes that he still is that, industry titan, and he is. But at the same time, like if he were to leave, I think he would quickly find out that he's not who he thought he was anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not through any fault of his own. Like again, what he did was unbelievable in his time.
He's not going to go off and join like Le Batard.
I think that would be the plan, either Le Batard or whatever. Like I still don't know who. And I've said this before. I loved
Outkick.
No, I mean possibly. I love Pat McAfee. I think he does amazing work.
Yeah.
But I don't know what company he works for.
Well, I know I think they're journeying into that podcast thing.
Right.
In terms of like a podcast, not in podcast network. I've been on his one of his producers have like a gambling pod. I've been on a couple of times. And they have,
I would love to do Pat McAfee shows. Let them know that next time.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, it has not been with McAfee himself. No, it has been with his producers and everything. They do a pretty good job. It's like Hammer Dan, something like that. DAHN. I can never say it correctly. But to your point, like whatever Le Batard's doing with Metal Lark, whatever McAfee is starting to build there. Colin Cowherd's got his weird podcast network / whatever that's going to grow into at some point. Yeah, Aaron, thank you.
Don.
But that would be an interesting move. Sorry, really quickly. That would be an interesting move if your thinking is correct in terms of I have been essentially my platform, my impact has been shrunk a little bit by being under the umbrella of ESPN. Could it be the same under the umbrella of Dan Le Batard, whatever he's building over there?
It could be, but like what I think is going to happen, honestly, is that Ariel has so many connections and so many sources. Again, like I see both sides of this. Ariel's right. I mean, Ariel did all this on his own. He got to where he was on his own by building this. But the problem with it, like the blessing and the curse, is when you go to work for ESPN and ESPN gets MMA. Now it's all about ESPN. It's not about you. And so I think if he tried to go out on his own and did what he was doing before, which by the way was incredible work that he was doing before, but I think if he tried to go back there, I think ESPN would block a lot of guests. I think a lot of managers would be scared to go on his show. Well, some managers already won't talk to him, and their fighters won't talk to him. But I think it would be really interesting to see what happens. But this is industry defining. I think is kind of right, because it's also the partnership between MMA or between UFC and ESPN. And if UFC doesn't like Ariel, and ESPN is not, banging down the door to redo a contract with him because the UFC doesn't like him, I mean, that's giving a lot of power to an organization too. If the NFL doesn't like whoever, Chris Berman, are they going to block ESPN from really pursuing him hard for a contract extension? I mean, I know Berman's not the guy anymore, but oh God.
Whoa, we're talking about combat sports.
Yeah. Is that
you realize that these guys are saving boxing, right?
Are they?
Dude, totally.
I mean,
was it Kwame Brown and Matt? Like I made this point the other day. Kwame Brown and Matt Barnes are doing their thing. And what's the immediate challenge from Matt Barnes? What's the immediate challenge? Yep, let's box. They've saved boxing, dude.
Well,
Now this is what boxing is going to turn into. It's just going to be celebrity boxing matches from now until the end of time, and it's so cool.
so I'll allow you. They've changed boxing.
They're saving it.
I'm not going to allow save because save would be.
I'm going to
This
find
is not
this one.
boxing. This is not boxing anymore.
Yes, it is. It's boxing.
It's spectacle.
It's boxing.
I don't. Are we
It
live
is.
at
It is the
Box Canada?
sport of. It is the sport of boxing, and people are going to pay money to watch the sport of boxing. How is boxing not saved?
Because they're not watching a sport.
Yeah, but they're watching boxing.
I guess so.
So, like, well, because I've always then whenever we talk about the sport of boxing, then we don't really give a shit about the sport itself. It's about the promoters, and that's not boxing. It's lining the pockets of the same people in the boxing community. I thought we actually cared about the sport because we care about the sport. This is preserving it. This is putting the sport in front of people's eyes. This is why that poll was at the Washington Post had it, where it's like Gen X or Gen Z, whatever the youngest generation is, the third most popular sport amongst the kids that they polled. It's boxing. Boxing has been saved.
I mean, it'll depend what happens from it. I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, will those people stay in boxing when Logan and Jake Paul both get knocked out and aren't fighting anymore? Are those same people going to keep watching this? Like they're going to be like, oh, you know what? I really like Leo Santa Cruz, or like are they going to pick some fighter that they I like Logan Paul, but I really want to watch Teofimo Lopez now.
I don't even know who those guys are.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like they're not doing what you're saying is like if the NBA say was struggling 10 years ago, like a lot, like nobody was watching it anymore. It seemed like it was dying. It was on its way out, and then And One mixtapes came along, and the kids were super into it. And I know they kind of were, but I'm saying like if this is what happened, would that be saving basketball or would that be changing basketball?
But you don't need to save basketball.
I'm saying if, John. It's a hypothetical that if basketball was dying. And it was like people were tuning out, kids weren't watching it anymore, it was struggling. And One came along and was like blowing it out and doing huge numbers. You wouldn't say that it saved basketball, you'd say it changed basketball.
Well, yeah, but is And One the same as playing like an actual basketball game, team of 5, all that kind of stuff, 12 minutes, league, all that kind of thing? Like if everything was exactly the same, like it's still because the same old farts aren't making the money as they continue to hold apart guys who should be fighting, as far as I can understand, right? This is still happening. The only boxing matches I ever hear are like the same 3 guys over and over again, right? Like, if these two, who's the 2 names you mentioned?
It was like random. It was not even top guys, but Leo Santa Cruz and Teofimo Lopez. It's just
right. But let's just talk about those 2, for example. What's stopping them from getting something done with? Like, what's stopping from some of these boxers going, screw this system. Like, this is clearly not working. These guys have some sort of platform that people are buying into. What happens when legitimate boxers start working with Paul? What happens then? What happens when he starts like a promotion of his own, like similar to a UFC type of for boxing?
I don't think that can happen because at some point he's going to take a challenge, and it might be Woodley, where he just gets destroyed. And either doesn't want to do it again or gets exposed. And then what happens? Like, I don't think he goes on. And my other question is, and I guess it doesn't matter, this is where I'm thinking changed is a more appropriate term than save. Like, are people watching? And some people, yes. But are the people that are watching Jake Paul and Ben Askren watching for that boxing match, or are they watching for the concert? There was like 13 concerts on that card. There was all these great musical acts that people were talking about. There was the slap fighting contest. I mean, all this other craziness that was part of this broadcast.
I tuned in for the boxing match. I spent my money for the boxing match.
Well, I watched it for the boxing match. I didn't spend any money. But
I'm a good American.
Yeah. It wasn't. Well, I'm just saying I went to somebody else's house. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
So it's weird. Yeah, how many people that watched the Paul brothers fight watched Haney and Linares this weekend? And actually, I can't. I had a negative Devin Haney experience recently, so I didn't want him to win.
Did anybody watch that fight? I don't even know who those guys are.
No, they didn't. Nobody cares.
Right. Well, and so ultimately, it's the same topic that we've spoken about before. But the reason, I don't think boxing is allowed to get mad at this, right? If you're a boxing purist, Like, you've done this to yourself. If you're mad that this version of your sport is the more popular version, like, do something about it.
Yeah.
I don't care about what, I don't even know, like the stupid unification. Like, every time somebody fights, they're unifying a belt. The BBC,
37 belts.
the BBC, the PAWG, you know, like all these different belts that I have no idea, like, what is happening.
I don't think that's a real belt. The PAWG is not a real one.
The PAWG, the POG is not a.
No.
It's not a belt.
No, it's not.
Oh, what about the BBC?
No,
What the MILF?
no. What about the THOT?
Oh. So I have a story for you.
Okay.
I did. For those who are listening on Friday, I told this story, but I want to get your reaction. I don't know if maybe you were listening to it. If you did, then you can stop me. I had my first my dad's better than you moment with the kid.
Okay, wait. Is this the one you told on the air?
Yeah, I told this on the air on Friday. Did you hear this?
Did not stop laughing about it, so you can.
Oh, okay, good. So you heard about it.
I actually told other people this story already.
You told?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
It's great.
Should I feel threatened? Should I felt threatened?
No. I think it's hilarious.
Because here's the thing. This is the part.
I think you should have done it.
What?
You tell the story.
You think I should have slam dunked?
Yes.
Well, I did later, but so anyway, for those who don't know, I guess. So we're at the trampoline place. It's like a regular thing for my kid now. Like, we'll go like once a month, $10. Parents are free. Go jump on the trampolines, whatever. So we go, and I have a knee brace on because I'm fat and out of shape, and my knee hurts every once in a while. And so we're at the basketball area. There's really high hoops, and I'm sitting there on the bench, and my kid's out on one of the trampolines, and he's having fun. And the dad of another child comes over, athletic guy, pretty good shape. His kid's probably like 2 years older than my son, so he's probably like in the range of like 4 going on 5. So his dad goes on the high hoop and jumps on the trampoline and dunks, like almost effortlessly. You know what I mean? Like, he's pretty good shape, light guy. So he gets up there pretty hard and dunks. And his kid celebrates, like, wow, Dad, that was super high. And then he turns and looks at me. He looks at my knee brace. He literally looked at it. Like, the fact that he knew it was like a sign of weakness on my body is incredible. You know what I mean? And then he goes, can you do that? And I was like, I just said, nope, I can't.
So
am I supposed to get a dad off with the other guy? Like, yeah, I can't move, punk.
My question in this setup, is it just like you, your kid, another dad and his kid, and that's like 4 people on a trampoline? And you don't know them?
No. So, like, you don't know them, but like, so eventually, so like, if this is here, I'll hold this up so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So like, so if like this is the area, right? There's a court right here, right? And it's split in half. So it's 2 long trampolines separated by netting, and the tall hoop and then the little hoop. And then over here, there's a bench right here. So I'm sitting right here. The hoops are literally right next to us, both, little hoop, kids hoop, and then the adult hoop right here. And so I'm sitting right here.
Wait, you were sitting on the bench?
Yeah.
That makes this even more sad.
Well, I mean, we had been there for 45 minutes. It's not like I was
were
sitting and not participating. I had been going everywhere.
No, but I thought when this kid challenged you, like, you were literally like hopping up and down. You just weren't doing anything. And he was like, can you do that?
No, he like aggressively challenged me, and like while I was sitting and talking with Isabel.
Oh, she was there?
Yeah.
Did she go to the other dad?
What do you mean?
Was she like, I'm with this guy now? He has won me.
Did she leave? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. How about this? He helped my kid too at one point.
Oh no.
Is this allowed?
No, not if he's going to show you up like that.
Did he show me up? Do you get shown up if you don't care?
Yeah, I think so. There's a small part of you that cared. You would have liked to go out there and like do like a backflip window.
Steve's burner's getting aggressive. Steve's burner is getting super aggressive. Well, that's the other thing. So, Aaron, this is the good part. So, Diego's not of the age yet where he understands like the social dynamic of what happened, right? So, like, there's no, Dad, you do it. You know what I mean? Or you try,
Right.
So, Thank goodness. Got another couple of years to get that done.
Do you? I mean, I guess if you're the dad, it's a little bit different for you, because you can just kind of say whatever you want. But do you run into questions from Diego that you just don't know how to answer?
Not yet. Like his latest thing is just why. So like we'll just go down the rabbit hole of he'll ask me why like 4 times,
Right.
and I'll get to like a why that I'm just like I don't know, man. Like because atoms. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But it has not been like, Dad, what happens after we die? I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Okay, that's true.
It hasn't been to that level yet.
So we mentioned at the beginning of this that I'm at my cousin's house in Colorado, and they have the 2 little kids that I got very close to when they were living in the Bay Area, and I was up there for the Raiders all the time. I got to see them like every day. So like we're super close, but I haven't seen them during the pandemic. So this is the first time I've seen them in a while. So it's very cool to be up here and hang out with them. But it was just a weird moment today. Like we were playing, and you saw that. How awesome is that basement?
Of course.
It's
incredible.
It's like a football field-sized basement.
100%. I have yet to be in a house that has a basement that isn't nice in my life.
Yeah, true.
I've only been to 3 homes with basements in them, and all 3 of them were awesome.
But we're down there just like playing. We were playing basketball, and like there's a golf like a net set up there. You can hit golf balls into it, and like we're just playing all day. But at one point, like one of the kids obviously knows me and knows my mom, who's their whatever. It's my their mom's aunt is how it would be, but has never met my dad before. My parents have been divorced a very long time, whatever. And so he said to me, "How come I don't know your dad?" And so I was like, "Is it my place to like explain divorce and like parents not living together?" Because then all of a sudden, because my thought process is like, then he goes, "Well, what if my parents get divorced?" And then you're like, "Oh crap! Like, what if I got myself into?"
Mom, Dad, are you gonna get divorced? Like,
right.
But
So
then it gets worse because then she's gonna be like, "Who told you?" Like, wait, you are?
Exactly. That's why I was like, well, how do I like? What do I do here? I didn't know what to do. So I said, well, my parents they just like to live at different houses. Like they just live at different places. And then he said, well, how come your dad never visits? Like, why does he visit them? Well, he's not really related to. I mean, he was by marriage, but the whole weird thing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, where do I go with this? So I was like, well, he doesn't like to leave his house. That's what I said. That's what I said. Like he just likes to stay in his house. And he goes, how many times a year does he leave his house?
Just keeps going down the wormhole.
And I said 1. So then there was, well, how does he get food? I was like, he gets it delivered. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
But see, you're making a mistake because I have been. See, now this life has put me around more children, so I have been asked like questions by children that like it gets to that point where they're just asking more and more questions. You made the rookie mistake. By the 3rd question, you're the adult and you respond with, "I don't know, man," and then you get up and leave. That is my strategy. Okay. Anytime a child goes a little too far down the hole, my response is, "I don't know, man," and then I get up and leave.
Okay, well that's fair. Well, I will tell you this, that we got like 5-6 more questions deep on this, and I don't know why I was answering the questions the way I was. I was just like, I don't want to be the one to explain divorce, so I'm just gonna go with this right now. So, but here's the downfall. So, as I explained to you, I'm in a this could be like a movie. This neighborhood, it's Pleasantville essentially.
Is it like the neighborhood from what's the Purge, the original Purge movie? Is it like a neighborhood like that?
Yeah. So there was a huge like Memorial Day barbecue across the street, and like everybody has kids. Everybody gets together. The kids are playing. The parents are talking. Like it was literally my nightmare. I mean, it was a fun time just because the people were so nice and the food was good or whatever. But I was like, if this was what I did every weekend, like I would not be able to handle that. It was a nightmare to me. But great for one day. Like I said, it was cool. Like I enjoyed like seeing what people do, like normal people, how they interact and how they act when they're together. Everybody's talking about what their kids do and blah blah whatever. But there was probably 20 kids at this thing. It felt like.
Oh, nightmare.
And as I'm kind of like watching them interact, I see that my cousin, who I had that conversation with about my dad, is going to every kid individually and saying, That's my cousin Adam. His dad only leaves the house one time a year, and he
Bullshit.
gets everything delivered. And I'm like, wait, wait, bro. That was just a story I was making up for your benefits. This was not something I thought was going to be carried. Like, I didn't think he'd remember. I didn't think it would be a thing. What is this?
So that's pretty good, because I will say Diego's at that time where like he'll reveal unflattering details about me to people. Like, so like, for example, like the other day for the first time, he was talking with, I can't remember, it was like a friend of ours or something. We had our kids together, and he's like, yeah, my dad, he drive and then yell, come on, man. And he like he mocked me as I'm driving. And I was like, okay, all right. I had no idea that you like listen that much. Thank God, I kind of keep it somewhat PC in front of him. But like now, and ever since I've heard him tell that story, when we're in the car together, like he'll sit there, like if we're driving, and even if I go like, ugh, like something like that, I'll just hear him in the back, come on, man. So I have been hoisted by my own petard in that case. But that would be ridiculous. That's my cousin Adam.
His dad only leaves the house once a year.
That's stupid.
Like, where did he get, like, why was that the part of the conversation that he picked up on too? It was so ridiculous. But I mean, it was making me laugh. But at the same time, I was like, I guess I just can't make things up because kids are just gonna. It wasn't making up to lie to him. I just didn't know how to answer those questions, and I don't know what whisper down the lane is. It's funny.
Did you see the other fan, by the way, today? My daddy is a BBC reporter for the UFC.
But did I see the other fan?
Yeah, there was another fan incident today.
Oh no, which one was this?
Yeah, he ran onto the court in the 76ers game.
Oh god. I was at a barbecue, John. I didn't get to see any sports.
Oh, so. I'm sorry. You're living your life. Yes. Here's my question. What do I do with my bachelorness until Sunday?
I mean, based on like what I saw today, you treasure it. Is this going to be your life? Like, is this what you're going to do?
This is going to be my life. What are you talking about? I got another one on the way. Yeah.
I know you do, but I'm saying, like, are you going to just be like in a neighborhood with other families and just like hang out with the families and talk about what daycares you're going to and that sort of thing?
I mean, I guess.
Oh god.
I think that's the only thing, dude. You know what? So here's the thing. You know, I realized I was old. So over the weekend, I have a buddy who lives in New York who comes into town. By the way, I gotta say, I love my buddy. Right. Went to high school together, was my old workout pal, back when I would actually do that kind of thing regularly, and, really good friend of mine. But he's lived in New York for probably 5-ish years now, off and on. Does that city just turn you all into douches?
Probably.
Like the air of arrogance around his words when he tells me about living in New York. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and he wasn't arrogant about anything before.
No, he was a very arrogant person, but it just maybe because I'm anti New York, but I feel like it just drips off the words when he discusses his lifestyle in the wonderful city of New York. Like, I get over it. All right, nobody cares. Anyway, I realized I was old this weekend because I was out with him and some others and whatever. And late night, it's like 1:00 in the morning, and you know what the conversation is about. And I'm sitting there on the couch listening to these people talk. It's about like refi loans and like buying houses and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? That's how I knew I was old. But I also felt very much behind the 8 ball because they were talking about a lot of shit that I had no idea what was happening. It was all.
You also weren't participating in that conversation.
No. I was just listening to them talk.
That is kind of what I'm referring to with this, John. Like, I mean, you
right.
And I fully realize, like, when I'm saying this, what I saw is absolutely what life is like for the vast majority of people and how they want to have their life. Like, that's what you want. You want kids. You want to have, like, lovely homes, like share with like great people. Everybody was very like incredibly nice people, great food, all that stuff. And you're just with your kids, you're talking about your kids, and you're talking about who's got the best smoker, on the lot, and those things. And you're like, yeah, this is what life is. Like, this is what makes people happy.
Right.
And to me, I was like, and like I said, for today, it was very cool. Like, I enjoyed it a lot, and like, it's a really cool experience. Being around my family, always, of course, awesome, and like all that. But I was like, good lord, if this was like every weekend for me, that would be horrific.
So was it the concept of being around a lot of people and their children that was turning you off? Or was it like, that has to be it, right? Just a lot of people and their children? Because I would assume like living in the nice like domicile and neato neighborhood is not exactly what kills you. It's what happens within those homes and the neighborhoods getting together and being like, hey, man, we're all Pleasantville here.
Well, I think
we're mom, dad, 2 kids, and everybody's like this.
I think it's the point where your life turns into, what are your kids doing?
Yeah.
Where everything's about your kids and all that stuff. And like, again, I love kids. I love being around kids. Like, they're awesome. And my cousins are like, it makes me so happy to be around them. Like, for here and there. But if every day you wake up and like, okay, what are the kids going to do today? What do the kids have to do today? What are we going to talk to the neighbors about with the kids? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't become that.
But it will for you.
I'm actually, you want to know, I told Isabel I was really happy since we're having this second kid. I did the math and I was like, Isabel, I'm like, do you realize that like when they get out of here, I'll only be 48, man. It's going to be time to party after that. We're not having another one.
Stop.
Like 18 years old. Get them out. Let's go. Knock this thing out. Now, I think a lot of what you're talking about is because you have kids and your life slowly becomes to revolve around them, that you don't have any other things to do. And so thus you talk about them a lot, right? In terms of conversations. Like a lot, I remember I got a complaint like a month ago or so on the show. I covered the company because it's like all I do is talk about my kid. It was like, well, a lot of my interactions are just with my kid. You know what I mean? Because I work at home and that's most of the life right now. But I do have other interests, and I do talk about those other interests quite a bit. So I think that's not what my life would become, because half the time when my kid wants to come play with me, I'm like, dude, come on, like you're 2.5, go play with yourself. Not like that.
Right, I get you.
You got all sorts of toys. You don't need me to sit there and watch you take the car and go back and forth like this on the mat. You know?
Yeah, you do.
I think you'll be fine.
By the way, that's what I do when I'm here, and I love it. Love it. Like literally, it's from building like a contraption for marbles to go back and forth through, to like zooming the car back and forth, to like playing basketball, like 1,000 different activities. Like that's what the day is. It's great. What?
So I like this. This made me laugh. So Aaron's Aaron. I never had to say her name, so I always just call you Aaron. Aaron Saul Good. But the only things we talk about are the weather and gas prices, classic old talking points. So today, for like the first time in a while, I had lunch with my mom, and like just my mom. And it was like one of those things where I was like, not necessarily not looking forward to it. I was like, what do I talk to my mom about? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to tell her about how the Clippers came back, baby? They tied the series up, you know? like the things that I care about. It was actually not as bad as I thought. I have more in common with my mom than I realized.
What did you talk about?
Gas, weather. No, actually, let's see. Talked about my child. Oh, you know what? See, it was old people conversation though. It was, but we are looking into potentially getting a home. Me and Isabel. So it was about that. Yeah.
You want to move to this neighborhood? You would love it.
Well, from what I understand, there's a lot of people who are smarter than me. Now is not the time to buy.
No, I wouldn't.
So I'm going to believe the people.
And you got to wait for everything to just burst, which I assume will happen.
Yeah.
I say this as a homeowner whose house is incredibly overvalued right now.
There you go. Now is not the time to buy at all. I hear that there's lots of people moving in here from California. That's getting crazy.
There's people moving here. And for those that just tuned in, I'm from Colorado.
Oh, really?
I'm live from Colorado right now. Yeah, it's the house. My cousin's right here. That I'm in their house. They moved from the Bay Area to Colorado.
Yeah, Adam's tweet about Diego, Paw Patrol, and JVT watching basketball was gold. For those who don't know, the other day when I was watching basketball, my son came up and told me, quote, "I want to be big. I want to play basketball and be in the TV." Which was like, let's go, kid. Don't say you don't want it if you're not going to work for it, all right? So we went out and ran drills. But Adam, you thought it was just a cry for attention.
It was basically, how am I going to get my dad to pay attention to me? Oh, I have to play in the NBA to do that.
Yeah, LeVar VT, exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to change his name to DeMello. DeMello Von Tobel.
That's good. Well, you could be the next one.
Yeah, well, we got the other one coming, so.
Well, Brady asked if that was breaking news. You have said it a couple times. I don't think we've openly talked about it over and over again, but you said it about 3 or 4 times now.
What's that?
There's another one on the way.
Oh yeah. We were having a second child.
Jonathan Von Tobel II?
No, God no. I've still never forgiven my dad, who's named John, naming me Jonathan.
Good.
It's not exactly a junior. You know what I mean? Like my dad's name is just John, but I'm Jonathan.
Good old fashioned name.
I tried to think of an extension of Jonathan to name my son. I mean, I couldn't think of it, except for naming him Jonathan with an H.
Yeah. I mean, you could, or what if it's a girl like Jonna?
Oh yeah, Joanna, Juan. Yeah, Juan's good. Yeah, but like Jonathan. I know a guy named Jonathan. It's very spelled it wrong. Very
Jonathan?
wrong. Yeah, Jonathan. I've never understood that. I've never understood Jonifer. I don't hate that one.
Could you talk Isabel into that?
Huh?
Could you talk Isabel into Jonifer?
No, well, she gets to decide. I named Diego essentially.
Oh, okay.
So this one is all her, because she had a choice for Diego to what to name him, and I was like, you know, the meme from Wonder Woman, the new Wonder Woman movie, like that's good, but this could be better. You know what I mean? And so I was like, what about Diego? I'm like, you really liked that name, you know, kind of made it seem like it was her idea.
Yeah.
You know, and she was like, you know what, I did.
Wait, what was her idea?
She wanted to name him Leonardo.
Okay. You could have done any of the Ninja Turtles, really.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I just didn't think Leonardo. Like, I feel like Diego Von Tobel. His full name is Diego James Von Tobel. I feel like that sounds better than Leonardo Von Tobel. Like, that's a mouthful.
Do you ever call him DJ?
Diego? No, I call him Yegs.
Okay, not bad. Oh, yeah, there's a DJ there too, Diego James.
No, but I think I've told this. I don't know if I've told this or not. I think I've said this. I've told you the mistake we made with his name. You remember this?
No, what was it?
So for those who don't know, apparently, and I looked this up after we had named him, but apparently Diego is a European Spanish version of James.
Is it James?
Or it's like the equivalent. Yeah, so it's either James. Like if you ever notice when McKinnell asks, he'll ask me, how's little Diego? Because Diego James, or you could flip either one of them.
Nice.
So we've made that mistake. Hopefully he never learns.
Can you do that with this one too?
I think so.
Come up with the Spanish version.
Isabel's very anti-middle name, so I don't know why.
How'd you get James by her?
It sounded good.
Huh. Did she have any interest in keeping her name with the kid?
Like Hernandez?
Yeah.
No. Well, she took my last name. Theoretically, her last name right now is Isabel Hernandez Von Tobel. She went with the dash.
Well, couldn't it be Diego James Hernandez Von Tobel?
No, it's just Von Tobel.
Well, what if you go Hernandez for the middle name for the new kid?
Ooh, that might be good.
Yeah.
We don't know. We have to decide. We haven't. What's it called? We don't know what the gender is yet. So
are you
find out.
Gender reveal party?
So here's the thing about that.
Oh no.
So we didn't do one for Diego. We just found out and we're happy about it. but her family wants to do one. And we really both don't. Like, we just want to go to the appointment, find out, and move on. But like, I don't want any pictures of me like hitting a freaking ball and like, oh my god, it's pink, yay! Especially, you want to know why? Because I'm gonna love my child equally, but like, it's the second kid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worth the fanfare. Play this back for my child when they're born and older.
Yeah.
But like, like we've been here. Like, the excitement was for the first kid, first step.
Sure.
We never done this before. This is gonna be a crazy journey. Like, now, like, that was one of the things my mom asked me about. She's like, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No." Like, I kept this one alive for 2.5, 3 years. I got this down. So why do the gender reveal now? It's dumb.
Can we put like a shower or sprinkler overhead? Like, those sprinklers that get set off when there's a fire and they just turn on?
Yeah.
So we'll put either blue or pink water in there and then set you on fire. Isn't that how most gender reveals are, like, crazy over the top?
Yeah.
So we set you on fire, and then the sprinkler is either blue or pink water that puts you out.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta act like you've been there before.
That makes sense.
I also, because just to make them happy, I thought that, do we just learn ourselves and then pretend like we don't know? But then we have to act, Like, oh my god, it's a boy. So exciting.
I mean, there's been a couple of like deaths in these gender reveals.
Right. I won't lie. Like, some of the stories around them have kind of like taken like it definitely has like made me think that these are very dumb. Like, I've thought they were dumb for a while, and then you hear like these ridiculous stories of what people do. Like, I don't want to be in a picture of me like pulling on a rope and like having a lot of like blue balloons fall upon me. Like, you know what I mean? Like Gordon Hayward. Remember Gordon Hayward's gender reveal for his 4th child?
First of all, you don't get one for the 4th. And
Right.
first, that pulling a rope down and having balloons fall on you of one color or the other is so good that I might have to hit Isabel up and say, this is what we have to do.
Well, she doesn't want one either, though. That's the thing. It's her
does.
family that is pushing for this. But for those who haven't seen it, Gordon Hayward's gender reveal for like his 4th kid, it was like a box filled with balloons, and like he opened it and like pink balloons fly out. He's got all daughters, doesn't he?
I think so.
Like, they have like 4 or 5, like 3 or 4 daughters, and some of the balloons come out, and everybody's like, "Yeah!" And Gordon's like, "Yeah!" And the kid's like, "Are you happy, Dad?" He's like, "Dad's always happy."
Clearly lying.
He's so upset.
Do you want a girl just to balance it out?
No, I don't really care. Not that sounds kind of terrible, but bring them on. As long as there's one of them, man. As long as there's one of them.
I feel like boys are harder to raise up until like age 12, probably.
Uh-huh.
And then girls become harder.
Dude, your guess is as good as mine. I still feel just as lost as day one, so I'm surprised we're here.
Well, you're embarrassing your kid by not dunking, for one thing.
I thought it was embarrassing that this guy was trying so hard to impress my child. I thought I was the one that came out looking great. Like, if you fuck your kid, all right? I don't need to do anything to impress him. I am secure in my dadhood. Because you want to know what? Well, that kid had a decent jumper off a trampoline. I know whose kid would have won in a fight, and that's all that matters.
Oh, you think Diego would have?
Oh, Diego would have torn that kid apart.
Did you say the kid was like 6?
No, he was like maybe going on 5. Diego would have destroyed that kid.
I still think mentally the kid seemed pretty sharp, knowing that your knee brace was a hindrance to you performing.
This is pretty smart. Yeah, of course. The fact that he looked at it first and then looked at me.
He's like, I don't know what this is, but I know it's not going to make him any better at basketball.
It's my bionic knee, of course it is. No, Diego, come on. Diego would kick that kid's ass.
I just don't agree. I think you're wrong.
You've met Diego before.
Got a pretty big head.
Okay, ready? Say, Daddy, can you help me? Help me. Okay.
Gordon Hayward.
Ready? Yeah. Whoa! It's a girl! Whoa! You want a girl?
Brittany, you were right.
He's so happy.
Is Daddy happy?
Daddy's always happy.
That is so bad. That is so bad, dude. That's a
Terrible
lot worse
acting.
than I remember. He's so unhappy.
Daddy happy?
Daddy's always happy.
No shot.
No.
Then, of
That
course, he
is
gets
not happy.
chewed out by his wife while he's playing video games. God, what a life.
That was him, wasn't it? God.
Huh?
He's gone through quite a bit. I mean, that's his escape. Poor guy.
So good. All right. Well, we got to cut this early.
I got to fight
Okay.
a little bit.
Adam's got to catch a flight, and I've got work to do before waking up in the morning to do more work. So it was good to be back together. Peace out. Hey, we're going to do, are we going to, what I texted you about? You want to do that?
Hold on. Stay on the line here.
Okay.
We'll do this live on the air. When did you text me?
Well, I texted you like you responded like yesterday.
Dude, that was a long time ago.
Oh, about going in on
Oh,
going in.
yeah. Do we do it for the show?
Yeah, I was gonna say we can do it like once we get closer, we can have one of our meetings at least on here.
Like the preliminary early week meeting?
Yeah. So Adam and I are gonna go in. Can we announce this? I think it's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Adam and I are going 50-50 on the Circa Million. So we're gonna enter on Mondays once we get closer to football season. This will be our preliminary week recap, look ahead type deal, and then when we win it, we'll quit and never come back.
Yep, we will. And to answer questions, yeah, we're gonna get in the contest, and we'll probably be a disaster, and you guys can laugh at us. But the multiple questions here about game 2 kind of got screwed by no Tuesday game here in Colorado because the Nuggets are playing. So I'm flying home. I'll be on the show tomorrow, live from Nova Home Loans. Check out Cofield and Company 2 to 6, ESPN Las Vegas. So I don't get to come home because the Raiders practice Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be able to get a flight early enough on Wednesday morning to get back to practice. So duty calls the other, the main beat I'm on here, the Raiders. So I got to get home.
What an honor to write for the paper.
It is. Oh, come on, that was impressive. 4 stories from 4 different sports in one day last week.
It's quite the accomplishment. Yes, I'm sure the RJ really appreciates you.
Did you get the sarcasm in that?
Yes, I did.